John is cycling at 7:30 a.m. By 9:30 a.m., he's covered a distance of 20 miles. So, 20 miles, and basically, they give us these crazy number like 7:30 and 9:30 or whatever, but I mean, if you think about it, really, they're just saying he covered 20 miles in 2 hours, right? Because 7:30, 2 hours later, is 9:30. All right. So how fast was he traveling? Oh, that's pretty easy. 10 miles per hour. No ratios, no nothing, just done. All right. If he cycled a further distance of 15 miles at the same average speed, what would the time be then? Okay, that's a good problem. So he's going 10 miles per hour on average, and he wants to go another 15 miles. So we'll go like this. 15 miles. I want to do my ratio. I would choose the miles to be in the denominator. So I'm going to take the inverse of this. So it's 10 miles, 1 hour. You got it? All right. This miles cancels out with that miles, and I'm left with 1.5 hours. But the question is, what time is it if he went another 15 miles? Well, 15 miles would take him in an hour and a half. If it's 9:30 and you have to go another hour and a half of biking, then it's going to be, well, the half is going to be 10 o'clock, and then the extra hour will be 11 o'clock. So it's going to be 11 a.m. That's the answer. All right. So these problems, I mean, really, it doesn't get any more complicated than speed is equal to distance over time. And I think that the only thing these problems can do at this point is give you weirder questions, or like they'll try to tell you something without telling it to you. Like they'll say, "Oh, he drives from 7:30 to 9:30." Really, that's just saying 2 hours. They didn't want to tell you that in the problem because they wanted to make you think about it. All right. Colin took 4 hours to drive from P to Q at an average speed of 75 kilometers per hour. On his way back, he drove an average speed of 60 kilometers per hour. How long did it take? Okay, well, I guess maybe the first question is, right here, let me draw the problem for you. Here's town P, here's town Q, and he drove, going that way, 75 kilometers per hour, and it took him 4 hours total. On his drive back, he went 60 kilometers per hour. How long did it take him? Well, first question I have to ask you is, did it take him longer or shorter? Well, I think the obvious answer is it took him longer. Because if he's going that way at 75 and then he's coming back at a slower speed, it would take him a longer time. That makes perfect sense to me. All right. The second question I have to ask, well, now we just solved this problem. How far is it between town P and Q? That'd be a good piece of information for us to understand. All right, so let's go. D is equal to what? We don't know. I know that he was going for 4 hours. I want to use my ratio, and let's make it 75 km divided by 1 hour. That's that ratio right there. And I didn't flip it over this time because I want the hours to be on the bottom because the hours are on top over here. So this cancels out with that. I get 4 times 75 is 300. So apparently he goes 300 kilometers. Let's start there. 300 kilometers. And I want to figure out how long it takes. Now this time I'm going to multiply by this ratio, 60 km over 1h. But I'm going to put the 60 on the bottom. 60 km on the bottom, 1h on top. I'm allowed to do that. It's just the inverse of this ratio right here. The reason why I did that is because I have 300 kilometers over here. That 60 kilometers on the bottom cancel out. Or at least the units will cancel out. What we're measuring it in cancels out. That's what I mean by the units. So really my problem is 300 divided by 60. Or 30 divided by 6. That's just 6. My units that I have left over is hours, because the km's canceled out. So I have hours over here. So it took them 6 hours. Does that make sense? Yeah. It makes perfect sense to me, because apparently, like I said, it would take you longer than 4 hours. This answer better not be 3 hours or 2 hours, because it wouldn't make any sense. All right, cool. A motorcyclist took 7 hours to travel from town X to town Y at an average speed of 35 kilometers per hour. A van only took 5 hours for the same trip. How fast? What is the average speed of the van? All right, well, if we want to figure out average speed, we're going to want distance over time. We have the time for the van, it's 5 hours. What we don't have is the distance. But we can get that from the motorcycle information. It took the motorcyclist 7 hours to go from town X to town Y at an average speed of 35 kilometers per hour. So I'm going to multiply by 35 km over h. Now, why did I not do the inverse of that? Well, I wanted this hours on top to cancel out with that hours on the bottom. So 7 times 35 is 245. Now, in order to figure out the van speed, it's pretty simple. All I got to do is take this 245 divided by 5 hours. And I'll get my answer. 245 divided by 5 is 49. Okay. Two more things, and then we're done with all the lessons.